What up, gang? Carolina Jackpot time coming at you on Friday morning. I hope everybody's doing good today. Doing great. I'm cold this morning. It's another chilly one in the upstate of South Kakalaki, and I feel naked today. I forgot my sunglasses again. Left them in my other truck, and I forgot my hat. I don't have a hoodie on, so I can't even pull this up to cover this slick dome. So, like, I feel naked. Consider yourselves lucky, though, that I don't look naked. Otherwise, this stream may be taking a turn for the worst. Well, this is a video. It's not a stream. Anyway, talking South Carolina Gamecocks football. Not a whole lot to report right now. Transfer portal is a buzz, obviously. South Carolina's got some visits lined up with some guys next week. A couple of interesting ones here that they are in the mix for. One of those being the wide receiver from North Carolina State, the 5'11", 187-pounder out of Charlotte, Kevin K.C. Concepcion. Now, this guy had a really good freshman season at NC State. Kind of tailed off a little bit last year. His numbers aren't quite as good. Not sure if he was injured or if he just didn't produce this year. But evidently he wasn't happy there and wanted to see what his market value was. So he said deuces to old Dave Doran and is in the transfer portal. Now, he's got a list. His schools include a list of like Florida State, Miami, Colorado. You know, a lot of these teams that build with the transfer portal. Ole Miss, you could probably throw that in there too, somewhere or another, because you know old douchebag is probably side-eyeing this guy if he has not already. So, yeah, South Carolina has to get into a bidding war over NIL for this guy's services. He's probably not going to be a take for South Carolina, not because South Carolina can't afford to pay the NIL. No, but they had to dump everything at the North Center so it wouldn't go to Auburn, Carolina Jackpot. If you'll listen to some people, that's what they'll tell you. But they're going to be smart about it because they have to spread this around the board. And there's a lot of wide receivers in the transfer portal this year. They need help at wide receiver, but there's a lot of guys there that they could choose from. Maybe some you hadn't heard of, but you know, I don't know if they're going to so much go with the flashy name. They're looking like, it seems like about every portal cycle they're landing one big name, you know, and that's it. And then the rest of them are guys you haven't heard of, but they've been huge contributors. Like last year, Carousel Simpkins, the guy from North Carolina Central, nobody had ever heard of. Why are they taking this guy? Well, I mean, he turned out to play great. Now, he pissed me off in that Clemson game. He cost us a touchdown, for one, with a dumb hit out of bounds, and he did a couple of other dumb things in there too. But I can forgive that after the season that he actually had. Another one that they're in the works looking at here that's on their list is his name is Derek Simmons, big 6'6", 285-pound offensive tackle. He's currently, well, he was Western Carolina Catamount, the Southern Conference FCS. They went 7-5 this year. Their coach down there is Kerwin Bell, who used to be He used to be a quarterback for Florida back in the '80s. When I first started watching football, he was the quarterback in Florida. That's been how long ago that's been. So that guy's got some age on him, and probably would make a good coach at the FBS level. But he may simply be a little bit too long in the tooth. But then again, being long in the tooth doesn't mean you can't land a job in the FBS, does it? Wow, North Carolina really went through with it. Chapel Bill. It is a real thing. Bill Belichick, the head coach at North Carolina. It's mind-blowing. I mean, that's almost crazier than Deion Sanders becoming the head coach at Colorado 2 years ago. I mean, it is. It really is crazier. that you think about it. The guy has no reason to go coach other than he just wants to coach. That's just the passion of his, I guess. I mean, the more I think about it, the more and more I think about it, and the more I listen to his press conference yesterday, I mean, I think the guy might actually turn this thing around. I really do. Despite his persona, I guess, and reputation for being a hard-nosed, hard-ass, it's going to be my way or the highway type of individual, I still think that it would be attractive for a high school kid to come play for. So, now I don't know. He might get some recruits in there, and he might have some bail out on him. You never know. He might be too hard to play for. But then he might soften his stance a little bit. We'll have to see on that front. But there's just been all kind of moves around college football. You got Rich Rodriguez, who goes back to West Virginia, where he coached from 2001 to 2007, and then he got the job at Michigan. Things didn't work out there so well. He ended up going to Arizona, and he did a pretty decent job there. He was there for 6 or 7 years. And then, I don't know what he did for the past couple of years, but the past couple of years, he's been the head coach out at Jacksonville State. And they have been, they've been playing some pretty good ball. They come into their first year in FBS, and they have a winning record, and they won their conference this year, too. They won Conference USA, so a good job there by Rich Rod. I mean, it's not like he left West Virginia due to underperformance. I mean, he got the head coaching job at Michigan. I mean, that's a better job than West Virginia. But I've said for a while, I think West Virginia's one of those programs that really should be better than what it is. Should be a lot better than what it is. West Virginia should compete for or win that Big 12 conference just about every year. It's based on history and the fact that they should be able to attract some decent athletes there. One thing about West Virginia, their academic requirements are not they're not as stringent as what they are some places. I thought West Virginia would be an excellent fit in the ACC, but somebody said, well, they don't have the academic standards to be in the ACC. Well, Louisville doesn't either, and they're in the ACC. West Virginia is just weird in that it's not like a great geographic fit with any conference. Even though it's in the middle of everything, it's really like it doesn't belong anywhere. I don't know if West Virginia is considered a southern state. Is it a Midwestern state? Is it a northeastern state? What the hell is it? Nobody really knows, I don't think. But he's going back there. And then you got Scott Frost going back to UCF. Now, that one's kind of... It's head-scratching in that not so much what he did at UCF, because he had some really good success there. He had the old undefeated team that claimed the national championship and all that shit back in 2017. But then after that, he goes to Nebraska, and it just didn't work. It didn't work at all. His alma mater, where he played quarterback under Coach Tom Osborne, it was an epic disaster at Nebraska. So I'm not sure what he's been doing the past few years, but here he is coming back got fired in the season too, like after game 3. I think they lost who was it? They lost to Georgia Southern, maybe? Was it Georgia Southern or South Alabama Nebraska lost to? And then he got fired. I think it was Georgia Southern. and he got fired. But he's back. UCF decided to take a shot at him again. I haven't really read up on the ins and outs of the whys around that one. It just seems odd. And old Dan Mullen, our buddy Dan Mullen, he lands a head coach job kind of at a school what you wouldn't expect, but then you think about it and it kind of fits. UNLV. Dan Mullen's going to UNLV. Now Barry Odom, who was the coach there, he used to be the coach at Missouri, and he had some decent teams at Missouri. Barry Odom's teams at Missouri would always lose like 5 games out of the gate, and then they'd win like their last 6. Well, he had a couple of years of success at UNLV, and now he's taking on a massive rebuilding project at Purdue. So Dan Mullen is going to take this job at UNLV, and I think it fits because UNLV, Dan Mullen's an offensive-minded coach. I think he'll be able to recruit some players out there who will be able to do the things that he's going to need them to do. And UNLV just seems like a place to me that's going to have a high-flying, higher tempo type offense that's going to put some points on the board. Doesn't seem like a Wisconsin, does it? Where they're going to win games 17-10. No, it doesn't. That was very surprising. I wonder how Uncle Lou is going to react to his hometown. What is it he called it? His home team away from home team. Home away from home hometown team. UNLV is now getting coached by former Florida Gator Dan Mullen. He's a Florida man. Well, now he's a UNLV. He's a Nevada man. Lou, that's crazy. Oh man. But anyway, this coaching stuff probably not gonna simmer down for a little bit here. The transfer portal stuff too. You gotta think. You got teams in the playoffs right now. And what's the deal with those? You're going to have some of those kids who are going to hit the transfer portal too. It's probably just going to happen later on after they get out of the first round. Like when Clemson gets bounced out in the first round, I expect somebody will hit the portal from there. What about Dabo too? I heard that Dabo is actually dabbing into the transfer portal. They say he is. I don't know how much I believe that though. I mean, he's got a first round playoff game coming up in a week? Next Saturday? I don't buy that. I don't buy it. I don't believe it until I see it. He's going to take somebody from the transfer portal. And no, he ain't going to take somebody that transferred out and then you're going to take them back in. That's not using the transfer portal. That to me, that ain't using the transfer portal. And don't be bringing anybody in to be a damn graduate assistant coach either. That's not using the transfer portal either. I want you to go out and get a couple of viable players that are going to contribute to your team, possibly be starters on that Tater squad for 2025. Then I'll say, well, you've actually done something there with the transfer portal. So, Army-Navy game coming up tomorrow at 3:30 or 3. I don't know. Carolina Jackpot was thinking about streaming that game. I've got to see if I've got anything planned around the house that I've got to do. But if not, I'm going to watch it definitely. So why not do a live stream on it? We'll come over here and hang out a little bit and BS and watch the Army-Navy game. I don't think I've ever streamed that before. Should be different, and that might be a little exciting. Who knows? They play a little bit more offense now than they used to. Anyway, got to go in here and work this old food kitty. I need some tater chips on the shelves. I'll see y'all later. Appreciate you. Peace, and I'm out of here. Go Gamecocks. Woo!